it's Sarah Jane from Cards and a Cuppa, and I'm here with your Tuesday tutorial. And I made this card last week for a class, and I wanted to share with you this simple spinner action, so I thought I'd remake it. Originally when I was designing it, I meant to emboss the white card layer with the softly falling folder, but I forgot to do it, so I thought I'll make it again and do it the way it was supposed to be made, and share it with you today. So it's a pretty little card, and it just is another way of using this Flurry of Wishes stamp set by Stampin Up. So let's get cracking. Okay, to start with, you're going to need some thick white card, and you need to rub over that with your embossing buddy. That just stops your embossing powder sticking to where you don't want it. So you're going to take the Flurry of Wishes stamp set, and you need the medium snowflake and the pair of 2 small snowflakes. So as these are photopolymer, you need acrylic blocks to pop them on. While I've got the stamp set out, I'm just going to get the sentiment out as well. And I can pop this out of the way. So just stick that on another block. Okay, pop the sentiment somewhere else for now. And then you're going to stamp, using Versamark, you need 2 of the medium snowflakes, remembering to leave enough room around the edge of them that you can still die cut it out using the circles framelits. And then you're going to need 2 of the pairs of snowflakes. You can do this all at the same time like I am. There's if you don't stop to chat, there's enough time to get your embossing powder onto your stamped images before they dry. Versamark stays wet for long enough. Today we're going to use iridescent ice powder. Couple of things you can use if you wanted to. You could use white embossing powder if you haven't got the iridescent ice. You could mix dazzling diamonds in with some of your white embossing powder, or your clear embossing powder maybe, to give a similar effect. And also be prepared to be very glittery, because this stuff goes everywhere. There is glitter from one end of the house to the other. Everybody here sparkles. So it's just so that you are warned. Even the dog. You can see how it's sort of dry and powdery. All you need to do is melt this powder, so when it goes clear and sparkly instead of that white and sparkly, you know it's done. Don't overheat it, because it just will burn the paper. So let me heat this up. So you'll notice when I was doing that I held the gun still and moved as it melted, rather than sort of go all over it like a hairdryer. You need to, the intense heat in one place and then move once it's melted works much better. So let me show you this. It's very hard to see on camera, isn't it? But it's clear and sparkly. You can't see the white powdery. So that's done now. Now you're going to punch out the snowflakes using the matching punch. It's quite stiff because you're using thick white card, and the punch has got quite a few points to it. And it takes a little bit of manipulating to make sure, especially with this because it's clear, to line up your snowflakes. Obviously it would be easier with coloured ink, so but as long as you get it roughly, it's going to be fine. So that's your snowflakes. Now, yeah, you're going to need your circles, framelits dies, and you need the 4th largest, so count in 4, and the 6th largest, so count in 6. Now, the 4th largest is for the hole that it sits in. The 6th largest, we're going to die cut the snowflake with this. So let's do that now. Cut the card front whilst I've got the big shot set up. So I've got a 14.8cm square mint macaron card base and a 14.3cm whisper white thick card layer. So I'm going to do this in one pass. So line up your thick white card, pop your 4th largest framelit on the front. Now you need to leave enough room for your sentiment at the bottom, so you need to position this framelit near the top but not at the top, because you've still got to allow enough room to put foam tape across there. Now I'm just going to use a tiny bit of washi and I'm going to just unstick it a little bit on my trousers. However, I'm also going to make sure it stays inside the framelit, so that if it does tear the card, it's only the inside bit which we're throwing away or using for something else rather at another point. So pop the lid on and run it through. And there's your perfectly positioned circle in your card and your front. Right, now let's swap this for the precision plate. And while I've got the big shot out, I'm just going to die cut the little snowflake here. This snowflake is from the square pillow box die. That's all the big shot for now. I have still got the embossing to do in a minute. Right, so let me take the card and base, and I'm just going to stamp the sentiment in mint macaron onto the bottom of the card. I'm going to keep it monochrome, this card, not really bring in any other colours. So that's that. Okay, I'm going to do the embossing now before I forget. So back with a big shot. You can get rid of the precision plate. Open up the tabs. Now I always try to use quite clean plates, otherwise you get the cut marks on your embossing folder. So line this up in the die, in the folder rather. And there's the snowy front. So let's ink these snowflakes. So you can see here I've inked the large circular one and the smallest one, so I'm going to stick with the same. is turn over your 2 circles and take some double-sided tape, and then you need to put a strip down the centre from top to bottom. And then on the back of each of these snowflakes, I'm just going to put one dimensional. So now we're going to get some silver thread, and you need to cut it long enough to cover the gap with a bit either end. So once you've cut your silver thread, I'm just going to take a little glue dot and pop it top and bottom of the opening, and stick the thread down the centre. Just move that one over. It just makes it a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to use foam tape here for speed, because you're going to cover quite a large area, because you want to support this whole front, you see, away from the card base. It needs to be able to stay up on its own. So just pop a bit. You don't have to go mad, but you know, you don't want it sagging in the middle. No one needs a saggy middle, do they? It's almost as bad as a soggy bottom. So pop them in there, and then I'm just going to add a piece there and trim away that excess. Now, before you stick this onto your card, it's possibly easier to do this now. So we're going to remove the tape and lay the twine over the top. Add a bit of Tombow either side, and then, as well as you can, however that is, try and get this tape over the top of the twine. More importantly, line up your circles there, because your glue is going to hold it together anyway. As long as you've got one piece solidly on the twine, you should be okay. So remove all the backing from your foam tape. And then add that to your front of your card. And then finally, to finish, I'm just going to pop these little snowflakes to the front with a little dab of Tombow or Crystal Effects. There you've got your spinner card using Flurry of Wishes by Stampin' Up, the embossed version and the non-embossed version in Mint or Pool Party. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video tutorial, and I hope you have a go at this simple little card, and don't forget to share it with me if you do. Thanks for watching.